experience in Tokyo. My name is Yoko Ishikura. I've been hosting this series over 2 years. And first of all, I would like to welcome all of you to come to Mitsubishi UFJ Research and Consulting. First of all, I would like to ask Koshiba-san, who made it possible to hold the session here.
Hello everyone, I'm Chikazu Koshiba. I'm working here for Mitsubishi UFJ Research and Consulting in a corporate planning division. And first of all, we would like to say thank you all for joining today's session. We are very honored to co-host Davos experience in Tokyo by Shikusen-sensei and Kurusan worldwide. Today's topic is how can we create a society where each one of us, including minorities, feels included. Our company is a think tank. When it comes to minorities, we have several keywords like ethnicity, religion, and gender. And as a think tank, we think that discussing the theme, today's topic, social agenda, it is very essential and crucially important. Maybe make it sure, right? And then, okay. So thank you all for again. Let's have this wonderful time together. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Koshiba-san. Well, today's topic is how we can create a society where everybody feels included. But before we get into that, I hope you had a nice summer. And summer is over, unfortunately. And even though we felt like it was a very hot climate today, so it feels like that the Indian summer is back here. I spent most of July and August in British Columbia, where the weather is nice, and I did a lot of outdoor things. But now I got a heat stroke today, and I was feeling like very dizzy. And I couldn't figure out what it was, but it seems like it's because I came back last week. It's been just a week. And from this very dry, crisp, blue sky type of British Columbia back to Tokyo, where there is very humid and hot. And I have been traveling quite a bit. And it seems like finally got to me. So I didn't feel that great this morning, but now that I realized it must be a heat stroke, I feel much better, because at one point I was a little bit worried. But anyway, I hope you had a nice summer, and now we are into the fall, which is the most productive season of the year, and you're ready to work or play or do something new. The reason we sort of talked about, or we wanted to discuss this topic is that, well, first of all, inclusive has been the term, which has been very often used, whether it's an inclusive growth, which means that economic growth should include everybody, not just having the big inequality. Inclusive education is an education for all, and as you know, in many parts of the world, women or girls are not included for the education. So when we talk about inclusive education, that means that education is for everybody. And education is the major driver to change the world, to transform the world. So it is often used as inclusive education or inclusive growth. And the first time that I came up with this word, I came across with this word was quite a while ago, while the president or the candidate Obama was running. And I noticed that he used this term very often. And I didn't know what it was. But then, we don't use this term very often. And now it is a part of the language. And inclusive can mean a lot of things. And what we would like to do today is sort of focusing somewhat on LGBT, because LGBT has been a topic pretty well discussed recent topic. For example, I just found out that the Harvard Club of Japan is hosting the session on September the 11th with the mayor of Shibuya. to celebrate this first anniversary of LGBT. And I think there will be an ambassador of Denmark showing up for that event. And if you take a look at the Business Sphere articles, you see quite a few articles very recently on LGBT. And if you check the internet, there are quite a few columns and articles written on that as well. And in fact, as I said in the announcement, the Ireland has passed a law for the same-sex marriage, and the Supreme Court of the United States said it's constitutional. And I just found out, I think today, the part of, could be Texas, I believe, the lady who is Christian refused to grant the license or the certificate of marriage to the people who are same-sex marriage. And that became such a big deal. So that was on the news. And for myself, one of my closest friends in British Columbia has just got married last year. And she's a same-sex marriage. And I know at least 2 others who are the same way. And I came across with the same-sex marriage in the military, U.S. Canadian military as well. And in case of this friend, Sheila, I knew her husband, and I knew the couple even before, because we go back about 12 years or so. And at that point in time, he was married, but they were married. And I knew both of them, and I knew their daughters as well. But then I found out that they got separated, and the next thing that I heard was that she has a partner. And I wasn't quite sure what she meant by partner. And but we played golf together, and it turned out that she is the partner. So they are Julie and Sheila. And they decided to get married last year. And the first time that I heard that she is living with this partner, I was like, what is this? I wasn't quite sure how I find her. But she seemed to be very happy. And so I thought, well, that she's happy, that's fine. It turned out, I just found out over the summer, that I was just about one of the few who really didn't care. I mean, who didn't find it very strange or anything. And when they decided to get married, I think some of her families had a fairly big objection. So they didn't know how to handle it. And that way, it was a marriage, it was a wedding. You know, here are two people, and they had the person who married them, and so forth. So, and she said, well, Yoko, you didn't seem to mind at all. So I said, well, I mean, what can I say, right? So that was what it was. And I don't know whether you have anybody around you who has partners, you know, the same sex or whatever. But those are the kinds of things, and which is, we can discuss as an abstract concept, but it's something little different when you come across with the reality. And another thing is that you may remember Bruce Jenner. He won the decathlon, that's Jushkyogen, in the Olympics, way back. And he decided to go transgender. So she's now Caitlyn Jenner. And she was on the cover of the magazine, the business magazine. So that was a big deal over the summer in the US. So we see more of these people, transgender as well as bisexual and so forth. So LGBT has become sort of the topic of the day. And we have some people who are, I think, the members of the government, local government, who is and who says that she is she's a lesbian, gay. So these are the kinds of things that's taking place. And as you know, Tim Cook of Apple is a gay. And there are quite a few people, gay people, that I know of in fashion industry, media industry. That's always been the case. And some of the fashion designers have been known as gay for a long, long time. So these are the things finally sort of surfaced. We used to know that, but we really didn't talk about it. We didn't discuss. That was not open. And now a lot of things become open. So how we deal with it is an issue. And now I would like to ask Toshida-san, Ruriko Toshida-san, who is a sort of a sponsor of this topic, and she would explain why she wanted us to discuss this topic. Yeah.
Hello, my name is Ruriko Toshida. I work for this company, Mitsubishi Research and Consulting, and I'm working for the economic research department. So LGBT or gender minority is not my specialty, but I chose this as a topic. So I'm going to explain why I chose this topic later. But before then, I'd like to explain a little bit about the current situation in the world and Japan about LGBT. Now, same-sex marriage is a problem in about 20 countries, and the changes in the United States has been talked already on Ishikura-sensei. So, however, in some countries, like in South African countries, laws still criminalize the private and consensual same-sex relationships, and even in 5 countries, there is some death penalty still. And also in some part of the world, association, expression, or assembly which supports LGBT are banned. So, so the situation in some part of the world is not yet good still. And then United Nations has already said that discrimination of LGBT is a violence of human rights, universal human rights. And if there is tension between human rights and cultural attitude, human rights should be carried the day. So now, what about the situation in Japan? Well, clearly, no death penalty and no punishment for being LGBT, right? And also, as Ishikura-sensei told, Shibuya Ward will start giving certification to same-sex couples from October. And some cities like Yokohama, and Setagaya are trying to follow this movement. So things are changing, and also firms have started offering some special services to same-sex couples, like same-sex couple wedding or restaurant reservation for those people. So they are taking this as a business chance. Well, on the other hand, those are good changes, but I'm sure that still at least some LGBT people are feeling uncomfortable or suffering for exclusion, discrimination, those things. For example, the social security system or tax system are not fixed for same-sex couple yet, or they still feel pressure or exclusion in their daily lives. That is guess maybe because other people, people who are not LGBT, are still thinking that this is not our problem. It's the problem or like issue of LGBT people. Maybe that's why it still occurs. And so that's the situation in Japan. And why I chose this topic is because I had a friend, he was a gay, and unfortunately he committed suicide last year. And I don't say being being gay was the reason he committed suicide, but I guess he felt uncomfortableness or pressure in his life. So, and in fact, this study has already shown that ratio of committing suicide is higher in LGBT youth in the United States compared to other normal people. And so some parts have changed already, but some parts are not well fixed or not changed yet. And previously I said a little bit about human rights. And as you know, there are many different kinds of human rights, like men and women, and different colors of skin, religion, where you're from, migration, disability, handicap. And now, in our first work, I would like to, and we are going to think about ourselves, our experience of being excluded or felt uncomfortableness. And then I'd like you to think, or have an opportunity to think, that the society makes the society makes minority feel uncomfortable. And that society is made by us. That means each one of us is responsible for the society, the situation that I explained. Thank you for listening.
Before we ask you to do some work, how many of you, this is the first time to come? Oh, that's quite a few. This is, I think, more than the other times. For those who are from Mitsubishi UFJ, please raise your hands. Okay. So it seems like that we have quite a few people who came for the first time, and probably we can talk about, why later on during the after we have some drinks or something. But before then, I wanted to promote something too. always wanted. This is a book that I wrote, and this is a collection of the columns which I've been writing. And here, I sort of, not exactly LGBT, but feel excluded or included. And I use the term, I belong here. If you go to the different places, or different groups, or different countries, sometimes you feel very strange. You don't quite feel that you're included. But sometimes you feel, oh, this is the first time that I'm here, and I never thought about it, but I do belong here. And I talk about this Miss Big Copeland, who's the black ballerina, who just made the American Ballet Theater, and who danced the Swan Lake. But she said, when she went to the American Ballet Theater, the ballet is very much white. You don't see too many black ballet dancers. So even though she didn't start studying ballet until fairly old age, and she is from the very, very poor area, and she is, the people said that she's not built to be ballerina, but she felt I belong here when she went to the American Ballet Theater. That's how she drove herself to be the big star, the top star. And so what I would like you to think about is that I'm pretty sure that all of you, or majority of you, have an experience. You feel that you don't quite belong to this place. I mean, I felt when I went to this, academic community, I felt like I really felt excluded. At least I didn't feel included. And there are lots and lots of occasions that I don't feel that I belong here. I feel included. For example, like government officials. I remember once I was supposed to give a talk at the breakfast meeting with all the very high-level government officials. And I'm not a government official. I didn't go to University of Tokyo, so most of my friends are not from University of Tokyo or high government officials. So I was pretty nervous, and I really did feel that I really don't belong to this group. And I am pretty sure that you may have that kind of experience. What I would like you to do first is that remember, whether you're a kid, you're a child, or your recent experiences, what are the kind of occasions that you felt excluded? Or at least you didn't feel that you belong to this place. Think about it 2 minutes. And then share it with 2 others, neighbors on both sides. How you felt, why you felt that way. You understand what I'm asking you to do? Okay? Okay, now it's 2 minutes. You have 1 more minute to think about it, to recall. And you might want to just write down or something. Okay, are you ready? Why don't you just kind of talk to whatever, pair or 3, group of 3, and share your experience with, and explain your story of feeling excluded. Okay? So we'll do it in about 5 minutes or so. Okay, let's just stop here, and you can continue discussion after we get into the breakout sessions. But I would like to introduce the special guest for today, and that is Yurika Enomoto of Let It Be. Please give a big hand.
Okay, anyway, I'm Yurika Enomoto. I'm from the company called Let It Be. Let It Be means is, as you can imagine, like, let it be, like as yourself. So we are doing many business for LGBT people. And then one of the main, our business is this media website. And there are several medias, like right now in Japan, like about the LGBT, but most of them are more like, gay as a fashion, like really cool, or those celebrity, or those things, like a gossip. But our media is more focusing on like how gay in Japan should live, or like how to live with HIV positive, or those things. So we are trying to create the media with the real voice of the LGBT people. But like writers are, of course, like most of them are LGBT people. And then, yeah, and then I'm here today because of so I hope I can talk about, like I myself, I'm a lesbian, and then I'm socially open, like lesbian, even to the company, to the social media, everything. So I hope I can talk something real about the LGBT life in Japan. Thank you.
Okay, let's start off by, I'll ask some questions, and you're welcome to ask some questions to her. Tell us a little bit about what's good and what's bad.
What's good and what's bad? Okay. So for me, but like personally, like right now, as you can see, like Japan is like right now LGBT is so not booming, but everyone is get attention about those LGBT. So I can be open about my sexuality. So that's why people will be like, oh, you're LGBT, one of the LGBT. Wow, great. So I can get attention without trying so hard. So that's a good point. People think I'm unique, even I'm not. But anyway, so with the sexuality, that's a good thing. And another bad thing is right now it's okay, but until I can be really comfortable about myself that I'm lesbian, it was like 21 years old or 22 years old. But all these, like before those things, those years, I was like, I always felt like something wrong. But something wrong, is it the society or is it me? I didn't know. So every time I met a boyfriend, I like him, but something wrong. But maybe it's like my brain is like messed up or something. So I was not confident enough all these years because I felt like there's something wrong with me. So those feelings are the bad thing.
What drove you to say, or to admit is not exactly the right word, but to be confident of what you are? Because you said that you've always felt that something's wrong with me.
Yeah. It's like, after this 21 years old, I was like, I'm okay to be called lesbian, but all these years, I didn't know the definition of lesbian. Like no one tells me, oh, you have this and this and this, oh, you're lesbian. It's not working like that. So it's like I knew I like girls, but is it that means I'm lesbian? That's the part I was not sure. So all these years I met a boyfriend or I liked this girl or those things. Like each event was a confirmation process for me. Like so each time I not convinced, but like each event made me realize okay, like I'm gay, I'm gay, I'm gay. So that I don't have like crucial event or realize that or the confident about like I'm being gay, but it took me about like 21 years old, 21 years to be.
I see. Who were your biggest supporters? How did your family, how did your parents sort of feel about it?
Actually, I still didn't tell my dad, but I told my mom last year when I was 25, and I'm not sure like she is the biggest supporter, but she was pretty nice about my coming out. So one night I was talking to my mom, and then she said something like, "Oh, like, don't you have plans for kids or something?" And then I know with her, I know she was like hoping for, see the grandchild or something. So I was like, I was already started doing this job, so I thought it's the right time to tell her. And then mom, actually, like I like girls, so I'm not sure I can like grant your dream of those like grandchildren, or like I do want to have kids, but I'm not sure it's the way you imagine. Or, so those things. And then she was like, "Oh, okay." And I know like she has so many things to say, so many things to like ask, but she was like, "Okay." And then she said something like, even like you don't have to live the way society asks you, because like society changes, and then everyone's common sense, those things that changes with the times. So it's like if you want to live that way, like you can change the society, so it's okay. Although like I noticed her look a little bit sad about those, she was like thinking about like my husband and child and those things. But anyway, she was cool about it. But I guess my biggest supporter is myself. It's just me being confident makes people, like, other people confident about my sexuality too. So, yeah.
Okay. Like, whether you're a man or woman, you like this, you have friends, very close friends,
Yeah.
the same sex. Is there a distinction between those, very close, even like, love kind of relationship, almost, and the LG?
You mean like, is that means like I have best friend who is girl, but I don't like her as a girl. Or those things?
Yeah, well, you like this girl as a friend, or you like this girl very much. But it seems to me, I could be wrong, but there seems to be a distinction, or the level that you sort of go past when you say, okay, this is the friend, but I have a special feeling and affection and more. That involves sexual relationship. I think, just to be very blunt.
Right,
That's-
right. But for me, it's not something like, oh, this level friend and this level best friend, this level is a lover or something.
Right.
It's more like, this is best friend and then this is girlfriend.
I see. What's the dividing line?
That's hard.
That's what I would like to know.
Right.
Don't you?
But
Do you
I have
yeah.
same question.
Yeah.
Like, although you're straight, you will have a guy friend, and then you will have like a boyfriend. What's the?
Yeah.
It's like I don't know. It's I can be friends with someone, like anyone, but I don't know.
Let me then ask you this. Does it have to have a sexual relationship? I think that may be the distinction. Can you be lesbian or gay even though you don't have a sexual relationship? Or is that the deciding factor? Is that the differentiating factor?
Can you say it again?
Do you have to have sexual relationship in order to be qualified? I mean, this is a very strange, strange word, but
Like you don't have to be, like you don't have to have sexual relationship in order to be lesbian or gay, but yeah, it's not something you have to do. It's not something like exams you have to take, but but yeah. Either way, I want to have like sexual relationship with girls, and then I don't really want to have sexual relationship with guys. So if you don't want to have sexual relationship with like both of you, both of the gender, you can be you can be qualified as like another sexuality, like asexual. So you don't have to be, but it's really rare.
I see. Okay, that's good. Okay. Let's spend 5-10 minutes more with her. So if you have any questions, go ahead.
So now you said you already came out and you get kind of comfortable because everyone said, oh, it's cool or something, but maybe still there is some program or something like blogs or something. What you feel about?
You mean the other people's situation?
Or what kind of thing we should solve, or I think there is still some program or problem.
Yes, definitely. I always, when I talk to the straight people, not LGBT people, when people ask me like what we should do to support or solve the problem, what I always tell is to show your support. Like really show your support, not just having in your mind that I'm okay with LGBT, I support LGBT, but to say to the world, it's like many times this happens, but when I, not me, but like my friend come out to his friend or something, and then people say, oh, right, I didn't know, like, why didn't you tell me before? Like, I'm so open about it. But the thing is, whether you're open about, like, supporting LGBT or not, we can't not know. Like, sexual minority is a blind minority because it's hidden. You cannot see. So the same things happen. People who support, we cannot see. So from the LGBT perspective, whether you support, whether you're okay or not, we cannot tell. So that's why we have to, test, test, and then to confirm if you're okay with it or not. So I really recommend, or I really want to ask you to say you're okay in the social media or something. Like, say something like, I joined this event today, and then I'm quite okay with it. Yeah, that's the easiest thing, and that's the biggest thing.
Okay. Other questions? Go ahead. Yeah.
I have some friends, and he is LGBT, and when I knew that they were LGBT, I was very okay, and I thought that was good, because I knew them, they were my
my friends, and the lover of them was just same sex. I thought in that way. So my question is that if I'm a lesbian and if I like a person and the person is happen to be a girl, then I will be called lesbian. But I say like I like that person's personality and character, not as a sexuality. And the sexuality is just same. So in that way, do you call that person as lesbian?
I don't call her lesbian because it's not something you are called or something. It's something you like define yourself or like describe yourself. So if she thinks like she's not lesbian, like I don't call her lesbian. Yeah, and then there's it's something like you said, like happens to be that person happens to be a girl. That kind of thing happens, and then there's another like sexuality called like pansexual. So it's like you don't have to be like called lesbian or anything, like with only one those event.
Alright, so do you think, is there any need to be defined? What is lesbian or do you need definition? Do you need?
I don't think so, but I'm okay with calling myself lesbian because that's the easiest way to explain myself. So, but in the future, I hope like those names and will just go away, and then okay, you like girls, okay.
Yes. You had a question?
Regarding social security, I'm curious, what is the program for the LGBT people?
Regarding social security, this is maybe not only for LGBT people, but who do not want to get married but still wants the social security. Those people too. But let's say if we don't get married, we don't have enough, we cannot get married, like lesbian couple or something. Let's say we want to have a house, or both, like our house, but we can't make a whole bank account. Yeah. So another, like the other one has to have the whole rights, like whole, and then if one of them died, and if the other one died, all the money we put together goes to the other female's family. I don't have any rights to have the money. Those things. Like if we pay many money, like 公正証書 or those things, if we make a document by paying, like we can get maybe 60% of the same level of marriage security, but not 100%. And then I'm sure it's kind of unfair we have to pay for to get that kind of security.
A lot of things like official things are much more along the traditional definition of marriage. And the same thing was true with like household things. And so we still have a lots and lots of things, legacy stuff that has been carried over. And so that doesn't really reflect the society today. And I thought it was very interesting that, you know, in answering the definition question, I think we have a lot of boxes we want to put things in. Yeah, men and women, you know, nationality or race or age or, you know, this is the baby boomer, this is millennials, and this is so and so and so. And we kind of feel comfortable once we put them into a certain box. But I think the box, you have to get out of the box. And I think the boxes are outdated. That's what I think. So if you feel, and it's true, you sort of feel comfortable, sort of relaxed. Okay, I know all these things. The world is in these boxes. But that's a very outdated concept to me. So the same thing was true with the frameworks. You know, frameworks, I mean, when the industry doesn't exist anymore, why do we have to worry about the industry? When we are not that sort of keen on nationality per se, you know, why do we have to put everybody into these certain boxes? And so I think that's the thing of the future. But it's the boxes are pretty strong, still pretty powerful, and a lot of people who are like certain age, not necessarily age, but the mindset, like boxes. And so I think that's one of the things is that, you know, we often say out-of-box thinking, and I think that's true, but we don't really think about all those boxes that we put ourselves or others in. Okay, let's break out into the several groups and figure out how we can create a society where everybody feels included. It doesn't have to be LGBT per se, but, you know, try to make, you know, how we can break all those boxes, how we can solve these social security issues, how can we make sure that we don't, we show our support, for example, as she mentioned. And, you know, just say it on the social media is one way, but are there any other ways that we can show our support of LGBT, or any for that matter? Any kind of, not prejudice, but sort of categorization. Okay, there are 8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
7.
7? Okay, 7. 7 tables. So you can take your chair and go to any group. And first of all, I would like you to quickly introduce yourself. Don't exchange cards. That's too much. Just to make sure that you know who they are and their names, and then start the discussion. And you can, this is amazing, you can write on those boards. And for about 40 minutes or so, we would like each one of the group to have a discussion as to how we can create the society. And you can, we don't give you any particular topic per se, other than how we can create the society. And, you know, come back and I'll ask each one of the groups to report back what you have discussed. What are the main takeaways? And if you want to call Yurika-san to respond to your questions or to help you, please do so. Or you can ask Toshida-san to help you. And you research and consulting people can either help you or sort of, I don't know, encourage you to have you say, get out of the box. Okay.